Hey there, this is Tim, one of the partners of Paragon Partners. I'm also along with Kelly. And in this video, I'm going to go over my last 30 eBay sales. Let's get over here. 31 days, I've done 16,000, about 500. If you've been following me, you know that this is down from my peak of about 19,500 about the week after Labor Day. So it's about what I expected. It got slower in September. So a little bit down, but I'm still happy with the numbers. And compared to last September, I'm still way up. But you'll see in this last 30 sales, I had a bit more disappointments than I usually had, and we'll go through it together. Here's one of them. I was able to sell this one for the full price, except I made a mistake. I gave free shipping with it, so I didn't actually make that much money. But this came out of a big surplus lot, so I didn't pay anything for it. And it was new sealed, but expired by a couple of years. Now, I was happy with this one. I got this one at a big auction, and I paid something like $8 for it. And I wasn't that familiar with it, but of course I recognized the name Edelbrock, and so I knew it was a winner. Now, I had sold this once before for $84. And it went a little odd. The woman, she asked for a partial refund on the shipping, which I gave it to her. And it was only like a couple bucks. I said, fine. I wasn't going to argue over it. And then, like 2 days later, she said she bought this for her boyfriend. Her boyfriend didn't want it, so she wanted a full refund. Well, it turns out by eBay, I couldn't refund her again because I'd already given her a partial refund. So it's actually turned into this big headache to get the whole refund. Anyway, we're able to work through it, so I went ahead, I relisted it again, and I got 76 instead of 84. So I was still happy with it just on my $8 purchase. I ended up selling this one for $18. The shipped at parcel post. The 7 Craftsman wrench is about what I expected. It was new along with the case. I originally tried to put this on Amazon, but I found out, of course, you can't sell Craftsman products on Amazon. If I'd been able to sell on Amazon, I would have been able to get about $25 for it. I got this up a big surplus lot, one of these digital cameras. I believe I sold this for about $12. When I have the complete package, I get a lot more for these. So, of course, you have the battery, the memory card, the cables, the charger, CD, the booklets in the box. Then you're doing pretty good. Here's one more, a different one than I had. Same thing, I sold this one for about $12. These are the older styles. They take the AA batteries, but you still get money out of them. I'm surprised. Actually, I ended up selling this for $26, and it's not as good as it seems because I give it with free shipping. And this thing, it was a brick. So by the time I paid for the shipping and paid all the fees, I'm sure I only made a couple bucks, probably less than 3. Now, this came out of a big surplus lot, so I didn't pay anything for it. But I was still disappointed this went for so little. These HP blade servers, it had good memory in it. And there's a lot to it. The technology, of course it was older, but I've still seen this older technology, computer technology, especially the servers still do well. But this one was flat. It was a bit of a bummer. This keyboard came with a surplus slot. I sold it for $20, and it's pretty easy to ship. So I was happy with this one. This one, camera, I had like about 5 of these. This came off a big surplus lot. I sold it for the full price, $14, but it was free shipping. So I made a couple bucks. But it was way old technology, and I was happy to even make a couple of bucks off it. Now this is only the second time I've done vintage Barbie. Actually, I bought this full set for $1, and usually I do buy it now. It ended up going for $16.50 plus $10 shipping and handling. So, of course, just buying it for $1, I like that ROI. In fact, these tend to be the biggest ROIs ever make is when I buy something for $1 and it takes off. The second Barbie thing I sold some months ago was a vintage Barbie doll case, and we didn't have any dolls, but it had a bunch of 70s and 80s Barbie outfits in it, and that one for like about 30. In fact, I went to a Barbie museum of all places, somewhere in Texas. So this one did pretty well too. So I'm starting to think that there's life in this old Barbie stuff. Now, this was the first one of these that we sold. We have a couple of them. My partner, he's pretty sharp-eyed. He bought a big surplus lot of electronics, and he noticed these in the photos. And this is the main reason why he bought these. Now, I ended up taking a $210 bid on these. There was 12 of them, and they went for about, if you sell them individually, they're going for about $30 with free shipping. The whole thing was worth $360. So we got 210 of a brand new case, maybe a little under, but we're still happy with it. We got a couple more of these, and like I said, good for him that he recognized these. Thank you, Kelly. These I ended up selling for, I believe, 10. Now, what made it worth it is that you could ship these media mail, and so all of them cost less than $4 to ship for the whole big heavy box. These old automotive books, I do so on. They're not big sellers, but they are pretty easy to sell, so at low dollar amounts, which is why I like them. Here's a vertical mouse. Now, these vertical mouses, I do pretty well on them. I've sold these up to $40 before if they're wireless. This one I did get the $20 for, and you can ship them first class, which is nice. And I noticed if you buy them new, they're actually like $60, $80. So people do look for these. This is probably the best one out of these 30. I bought this for, I believe, about $30 or $40 from one of my Facebook ads offering to buy stuff, and I sold it for $160. So I like to do between 3 to 5 time ROI, and I was right in that money. But let me tell you, this was a pain to pack. This took a big box. In fact, when I went to the post office, the circumference plus the height, or the girth, has to be 180 inches or less, and it was just at that 180 inches. If I had been a half inch over, I wouldn't have had to go on oversize. So I was a little surprised at this one. My partner, he actually bought this some time ago from Value Village, and we're just going through his big lot right now. We ended up taking a $50 best price, and that may have been a little low. When I was looking this up, I noticed that people are selling a lot of these parts and components, and they're between $10 to $25 depending upon the lot. So I'm sure if I had the patience, I could have parted this whole thing out for over $100. But we just took $50, and we're kind of glad to get it out of the shop. You've been following me, you know I've been selling a lot of these radios. I mentioned I bought some Russian guy. He's a big eBayer, and he wanted to get out, so I bought all of his inventory. I got a lot of these radios. These individuals, they do sell pretty nice and consistently, but not for the money that I expected or hoped for. Now here's a second one of those HPs that I mentioned, and you can see this one, and went for 99 cents. So of course this is a bummer. In fact, I originally listed these at auction. I started at $19.99. They didn't sell, and then I had them listed at, I believe, $39.99. Buy it now, best offer, and they just weren't taken off. So kind of was the last step. We put everything in the 99-cent sale, and we only got one 99-cent bid on it. Here's another one that I thought was a big bummer. I bought a couple of these old games, and this game, it was from 1936, vintage, but it was complete, and it looked like it had never been played before. I looked these up, and they had not many sales, of course, but they had done well. And so I bought 4 of these games, 4 different games, for $40. So I got it for $10, and I had started it at an auction in 1999, got no bids, then did $29.99, buy it now, best offer, and I got no traction on it. So like I said, last step, we list it for 99 cents and see if it takes off. And I would have thought for a 1936 vintage board game, complete, looked like it had never been played in condition, it would have done a lot more, especially this finance game. This is a predecessor to some of the other Wall Street type of games. So I thought, given the lineage, people would have been all over this. Oh, now here's another bummer game. So this one was the original 1965 version, the very first version of the Operation board game. And again, it was complete, had all the plastic parts, the money cards, the regular cards, looked like a never played in condition. And I had looked this up before I bought it, and it had sold previously from $30 to $40. Okay, you've heard this story before. I listed at $19.99, no sale at auction. I listed for $29.99, buy it now, best offer. Nothing happened. So my partner said, screw it, we got to get rid of it. So we listed at 99 cents. It finally started to gain traction, and then it took off to $12.50. But that's kind of seems to be my luck sometimes. When something sells for $30, I still don't trust it because this is my luck. It sold at $12 for me. Here's another one. This is a blood monitoring kit. So this is used by diabetics. And I'd sold these before. Different kits, of course, for better money in the $15 to $25 range. And I watched other videos by other sellers, and they've done well in these kits. This one, same story. I did buy it now. It never took off. Finally, we said 99 cents. And you can see I got a whopping 2 bids on it. Here's another one that was a bummer. This was an 8-track player, and previously I've been doing better on these 8-track players. The sort of the retro thing, and there's a lot of still country 8-track tapes that people want to be able to play. And this was something I had listed, I believe, 1999, and then auction didn't take off, and I did the $29.99 bought now, no offers. And I got a 99-cent bid on it when I finally put it to auction. And this was a bummer. Now this one I was happy with. I didn't expect this to sell, but older VCR, and I had tested this thoroughly beforehand, so I was able to write that up in the description. And I took a $20 bid on it, so I was happy this went off. Here's just a couple of leftover knives. I know knives can do well. These were the lower end quality with stainless steel blades. So I just put them in one lot for $10. I only got one bid on it. They look cool, but I realized they were on the lower end of the market. This one I was happy with. The customer bought this. He didn't like it. He returned it, and it sat in my return shelf for a while. And when I was finally cleaning everything, I saw it again. I said, I might as well list it. So I listed it for $29.99, buy it now. Now, this didn't have a power supply or any cables or software with it. But what happens is they already have one of these printers. The printers die. And so they just need to replace the printer itself, but they have everything that goes with it, and they need it now. So I put it for $29.99, buy it now. And in less than a day, I had sold it. With $5 shipping and handling. So that one was worth relisting. Oh, this one was kind of cool. I had listed this a couple months ago, and I completely forgot about it. This was an upper end cassette recorder with a couple of extra features. It came with the box and original owner's manual. We started at $49.99, buy it now. It didn't take off, so my partner went ahead and lowered the price. And we did get the full asking price of $35 on this. These Roku devices, I've done well on these too. Now, they sell a bit better, of course, when you have the remote and the software and the CDs and the manuals. So this is part of a complete kit, but this one went pretty fast as well. I've never had a problem selling Roku or even the Apple TV devices. Here's a video cassette. Now, if you've seen my other videos, I like to get these for about $5. Sometimes I'm able to flip them for $35. This one I was able to sell for $25 because it didn't have a battery with it or any of the other cables or manuals. Now, I look for a bit higher amount on these because the risk factor is greater. Sometimes people get these, they start using them and they realize the function isn't working on them. So I have a 30-day trial period because of that. And so the return rate is higher on these used VCRs. So I have to compensate for that in my purchase price. So I sold this for $15, and Of course, with these slide rules, kind of there's old retro people in the Renaissance and the subculture people like to use slide rules. And what made this one more valuable is it came with the case, which fit on a belt loop. And kind of the bigger these are, the more they go for money. I remember one of my old professors telling me back in his day when he was a college student, the students, they would hook these onto their belt loops and they'd like to wear them as if they were some medieval sword. And of course, the longer the sword, the more cooler you were. So I went ahead and I got this, I think, for $2 or $3, and I was able to get 15 for it. So I was happy with that flip. Oh, now we got 3 of these out of a big surplus sale. And the complete kit, these do pretty well. We didn't have the complete kit. This is all we had. And so I noticed these were going for 25 to 35. I just wanted to move them out, so I put them at the low end of the market, 25. And I sold all 3 of them in less than 2 days. This was a nice stereo system. I took a $30 offer on it. I had this for a while. I think I got the whole thing for about $5 at the thrift store on one of their half-off sales. What made it a little more attractive, of course, is it came with the remote as well. And I had this online for probably about 2 months. It did take a while to sell, though, but I was happy with the end result. Some cameras, if you've followed from my last video, you know I sold a big lot of these. The cameras I've just been putting together by the manufacturer. A lot of the times I didn't even have the batteries or the memory cards with them. So I've just been putting together the Olympus and the Samsungs and the Nikons and the Pentaxes. And I've been doing pretty, so I'll say. Not pretty well, but mediocre on these. Last one. So I had bought a box full of car badges or marquees. And of course, the more famous or attractive the car, the better the marquee, the more it goes for. These were the Thunderbird marquees. So not bad, but they were off the newer versions, not the old 50s versions, so they weren't worth as much. And I took a $20 bid on them. And were able to get them out, and there was 9 of them. And I thought it was a fair price, especially for the whole box. I only paid, I believe, about $12. And there were other better marquees within that, so I was ready to let it go. All right, you hear this at every video. Please like us, comment, subscribe, show us a bit of love, and we very much appreciate it. Cheers.